when the women were taking on themselves. Now, welcome back, and thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Carrying on with our discussion that we started yesterday, brought to you by the Ministry of Education and Sports, and also part sponsored by UNESCO. We talk about the National Teachers Policy and a number of those embedded in there. It's a very good afternoon. My name is Jagenda Semakola-Ziksoka, and of course joining me in studios are three very important persons from the Ministry of Education and stakeholders of the same issues that we are addressing or talk about tonight. Joining us in studios this afternoon is Professor Betty Ezat. She is the chairperson of the National Task Force for Unity. You're very welcome, Professor Ezat.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, viewers.
Happy to have you, Professor Ezat. And of course, together with Professor Ezat is Commissioner Moses Bateganya. He's a Principal Education Officer from the Ministry of Education and Sports. You're welcome again.
Thank you, Jagenda. Good afternoon, listeners.
Well, thank you so much. And together with Mr. Bateganya is Mr. Valentine Owore. He's the Systems or the Information ICT Administrator at the Ministry. You're also very welcome.
Thank you so much. And thank you, the viewers. We are back again.
Okay, yesterday we talked about the National Teacher Policy. We talked about teacher management information systems and quite a number of things in there. And what we did not delve into was the priorities of the National Teacher Policy. I will request you, Commissioner Bateganya, to cue us in with the priority areas in this particular policy.
Yeah, thank you, Jagenda, and good afternoon to our viewers. This afternoon we are back to share with you what are the reforms that are taking place in the Ministry of Education and Sports. You recall very well that we started on the vibrant dissemination of the National Teacher Policy. Just as connecting it as a reflection of yesterday, the teacher policy is the document now that is going to cause a paradigm shift in the teaching profession for this country. And indeed, at this level, we are now looking at what are the priorities of the National Teacher Policy, and that is going to stem our discussion this afternoon. But before that, I want to call upon you, the teachers out there, both public and private, and you are listening to us, to put aside all what you are doing and spare some time, just only a few minutes with us here in the studio, so that you get to understand what we are talking about, the teacher management information system. And the private sector, they are somehow not well versed with what is the teacher policy, and we want now for them to keep embracing this intervention. Let them understand that this teacher policy is for them and for the good of this country. If you're a trained teacher, this is the time for you to listen in and understand where the country is directing our education system.
The private sector is not akin to this?
Private sector, they are not much well versed with what is taking place in terms of the National Teacher Policy.
And this involves all teachers, and both private and public?
Yes. And now this is the opportunity for them to tune in and then get to understand what is in the teacher policy and other interventions that are connected to the implementation of the teacher policy. And this is the requirement for the teachers now to register online. And that's why we have come to get this time with you. We thank you very much for hosting us, and we let them to understand that actually they need to register, especially those in the private institutions, private schools. Most of them have not registered. And this is now creating a gap. And yet, the system or the changes are going to catch up with them. Okay. It's a matter of time. Because the policy
yesterday you revealed to us facts here that we have about 350,000 teachers across the country. Who are the majority among these? Are they private teachers or private school teachers, or those in government schools?
The majority are in government schools.
Okay.
And now, that's where we are saying now, the private, can you also tune in, or can you come on board so that you move with what the government is putting in place? And one of them, it requires all the teachers to register online so that we have the data for the teachers that are known in this country. This is what has brought us this afternoon, and we shall continue with the rest of other panelists to come and discuss about the same. That said, now the priorities. One of the priorities is the need to establish the National Teacher Council. That's what my commissioner was talking about yesterday. That priority is for us to have a council that will be responsible for registration of teachers. Actually, what we are talking about in the Teacher Management Information System, that will be the role of the National Teacher Council. The National Teacher Council will also have the mandate to deregister the teacher who does not meet the requirements. For example, a teacher may have a disciplinary case, maybe as involved in malpractice, cheating exams, which you have been hearing teachers involved in that. Also, there's defilement that has been taking place. Some of those teachers have been involved in some of these cases, whereby a teacher, once he commits an atrocity, let me say, in Kampala, will run to Sese Highland and will hide there just for a few minutes and hours, and some months. After a year, this person now goes and joins still the same profession, which is unprofessional, because nobody is tracking this teacher. Nobody is following up this teacher, like in a medical council. When you're a nurse and you commit an atrocity, which is against the ethics of the profession, they can register you. And they will follow you up, and you will not practice elsewhere. That's the practice, which has not been happening on the side of the teachers. So the council will be responsible for that. The council will be also responsible for following up the teachers in their profession.
Okay.
Whatever they do, that will be now the regulator. It will be the one regulating these teachers. That's priority number one. Priority number two is need to establishment of the National Teacher Institute for National, that is UNITE, Uganda National Institute for Teacher Education, where we have the professor who will be discussing about that in details. That's priority number two. And this is now the institution that will be responsible for all the pre-service and in-service training of the teachers. Even look at also the CPDs, continuous professional development, frequently tracking the development of the teacher. Is the teacher adding on after qualifying as a teacher in the university? Is this teacher progressing? Is he catching up with the changes and the challenges that are facing the profession? That is what we are talking about. Then we are talking about developing the standards for the teachers. And these areas on the terms of development, terms of management of teachers, and looking at all those areas. Then also the other priority is the integration of cross-cutting issues in all the aspects of the teacher training. This is looking at the cross-cutting issues that we were talking about, that is ICT. And the ICT that is now connected to the Teacher Management Information System. Exactly, that's what we are talking about. In this area, there are so many areas. Environment, talk about gender, talk about HIV and AIDS, talk about special needs education. And the special needs education, you know that this is an area where most of our teachers have gaps. They are supposed to be trained in this area. So that matter of looking at the child, you look at the child and psychologically you know that must be having the sight problem. Okay. Just a matter of looking at the child. But you cannot do that until you are trained. There are skills that you are supposed to go through in your teaching professional training. Then you are able to address those issues. Those are the priorities that are now linking us to our discussion.
Okay, well that's very important, and thank you so much. Now you hinted on quite a number of things. When you talked about the priorities here, you talked about the NTC, you talked about Unity, and of course all the others that come on. Yeah. Let me invite Professor Ezat to address me on Unity itself from what you've just discussed here. Now we have a council, but I also talk about Unity, an institute to train teachers. Well, we'll first of all understand what Unity is, why we think we need it, and also address us on the issue of is Unity now replacing universities? Is it replacing faculties of education in the different universities, that if I want to study to get in the teaching career, I have to go to UNITE and not to go to Makerere University or any other university? Welcome.
Thank you so much, Jagenda. Like he mentioned, UNITE stands for Uganda National Institute of Teacher Education. Now, UNITE is one of the strategic direction in implementing the national teacher policy, just like he said. And so UNITE is going to be a specialized institution, a degree awarding institution for teachers, a one-stop center for teachers of different levels, from early childhood education to tertiary. Our viewers may be aware that in 2019, the national teacher policy clearly stipulated that all teachers in the country, irrespective of the level they're teaching in, should have a bachelor's degree. And so UNITE is being set up to fulfill that mandate, so to say, that has been spelled out in the national teacher policy. So why do we need UNITE? Right now, teachers are trained from different institutions, and the curriculum is not harmonized. And yet the teacher, irrespective of where they're trained from, teach in our school, using the curriculum meant to teach in those schools. So you're teaching Ugandans, but the way you're trained is not standardized, is not harmonized. And so UNITE is coming in place to ensure that we harmonize teacher training in this country, so that if you get a teacher from one place, this teacher would have gone through similar curriculum, similar examination, and then they can be deployed to our school. So right now, UNITE is at its infancy. A task force has been created, and I chair that task force. It's a task force of 6 people, and we've been tasked to set up this institution. It's going to be located at the current Shimoni PTC school. So in effect, Shimoni is going to be converted to
into
a
UNITE.
degree awarding institution. And then we will work with all the NTCs that are currently offering diploma. The NTCs will affiliate to UNITE and will offer degree programs. The same will happen to the PTCs. And so that means we will stop admitting at some time students who will qualify for award of a certificate and award of a diploma. And those institutions will get converted to degree awarding institutions.
So that means we now get with the G teachers. You used to call them grade 3, grade 4, grade, I don't know, the different grades.
Yes, we will expect them to upgrade.
Okay.
Yeah. And again, we know that our teachers are very keen on upgrading their knowledge. So even before this policy came into place, teachers have been upgrading. So we're actually asking them again to say, those who had not, this is the time for them to take up. So as UNITE, we are developing the programs.
Okay.
Because these programs must be accredited by National Council of Higher Education, which is mandated to accredit programs for degree awarding institutions. So the programs are being developed. We've done already quite a lot on those programs. We'll finally submit it to National Council, and then hopefully they're accredited, and we begin the training.
The other thing that I want you to address me on, Professor, is I'm now looking at Shimon becoming UNITE, and I'm being admitted at Makerere University School of Education, or I'm going to Chambogo, Nkumba, or any other university. I'm trying to understand it in the legal perspective or in the law profession perspective, that I go to any university that is accredited by the National Council of Higher Education, go through my 4 years in law school, then go to LDC for legal practice. Is UNITE another LDC for the teachers in that regard, or it also becomes a parallel university like Makerere, Nkumba, and all the others?
Yes, UNITE is going to be a degree awarding institution, initial teacher education degree, and is going to be specialized for teacher education. So unlike Makerere and Kiambuk and all other universities that have several professions being trained there, UNITE will just be for teachers. And UNITE will not stop universities from training teachers.
Okay.
Because right now we are training teachers in NTCs, in PTCs, and universities, and we've been doing it very well. So UNITE will not stop that. What UNITE is going to do is to coordinate the training that had been taking place in the NTCs and in the PTCs, and universities will continue. But he has talked about teacher council. Now, university will have to ensure that their programs meet the criteria set by the teacher council, because that is the licensing body, that is the registration body. So that is the only thing that the universities will have to do. UNITE will train its teachers, will liaise with the National Council to ensure that the teachers meet the standard. Universities will have to do likewise, but there'll be no interference with the current training that is taking place in universities.
Then how different will we be if you do your bachelor's at Unity and I do my bachelor's at Makerere University? Then where is our meeting point? Because you've not stopped Makerere from teaching me. I've trained at Makerere University and qualified as a teacher. You two have qualified as a teacher from Unity. Then how different are we, or how similar are we?
The meeting point, first of all, is that whether you're trained in Makerere or Unite, you have to go through registration. And you have to go through licensing I think every 2 years or so.
Okay.
There's a duration. You can't just remain with your initial training and you don't go for CPD, continuous professional development. And that is what will help you to get a license to continue teaching. Otherwise, your knowledge and skills will be stale, you know, by that time. So that brings us together because there is a body we are all looking to. So Makerere will have to ensure that what it is doing, Kiambuk will ensure that what it is doing meets what is required to be registered. And so...
and that requirement is set by the National Council, Teacher Council, or by Unity? Okay,
Teacher Council,
by the Teacher Council.
Not Unity.
Okay, so it's the Teacher Council that sets the standards for all of us to follow?
Yes.
Okay, that's very important. Mr. Ward, let me come to you here. Yesterday you gave us statistics of 350,000 teachers across the country, and you told us you have about, I think, 190 who on the system already. Who are the majority? Are they private teachers or government teachers? And what happens to the rest who are not actually yielding or coming in, like Commissioner Bateganya here says?
Oh, thank you so much. Now, we have different categories of teachers.
Yes.
And the majority are the government-aided school teachers.
Okay.
Though we have the same government teachers working in private schools.
Exactly.
You get it? So they can meet at some point. I am a secondary school teacher of a government school, and I'm part-timing at a secondary school of a private ownership. You get? So the majority, according to the system, are from secondary government-aided schools or institutions. However, even those that are not coming up to register must have to come up because registration is a key to recruiting them. Minus the certificate, you cannot be even interviewed or shortlisted. But as you can see, most of our private schools may want to exploit a teacher, and therefore they will not bother whether you have the certificate or not, so long as you go. But this certificate now is your weight as a recognized teacher. When you get outside there, this certificate enables you to bargain well, even if in the private sector. So registration is a key to whether you're teaching government schools or private schools.
Won't that registration of the TMIS stop me from teaching in one school and the other school? Because
No.
I may be a government teacher, but also part-timing in a private school. Won't this registration curtail me from working in multiple places?
It cannot. That can only be depending on which school you're working at. If they say you must be here. But I think in government schools, such a condition doesn't exist.
Yeah, it's not.
You're flexible. This can only apply in private primary schools or government primary schools, where a teacher is meant to be there throughout, but still they can sneak and go and teach. But secondary, tertiary institutions, lecturers and instructors or tutors are very flexible. Yes.
Okay. I also want to see how your TMIS helps in implementing the policy itself in here.
Now, TMIS is a serious key. Actually, the policy is helping to implement TMIS. How? The policy recommended the creation or establishment of TMIS. The policy also recommended the establishment of UNIT. The policy recommended the establishment of the National Teachers Council. So policy is like the mother
of all these things.
Of all these things. So these are just branches. Yeah? The branches. Now they are working intercoordinatively. If the National Teachers Council now comes up, which is in the process, they will take up the charge and duty of registration and licensing of teachers. What we are doing now at the ministry will shift, and they will take full responsibility to ensure any teacher outside there or any teacher qualifying, before even you go to class, you must pass through them. Just like these other councils we have in place, the medical councils, you get. So National Teachers Council will either deregister you if you joke around, or maintain you in the system. Their system then, it won't be the system of the ministry. And I think proposals are that the National Teachers Council may also sit at Shimon Coapitis, where UNIT will be sitting. So they will be working closely with each other, unless other factors will change. But that still stands. Yes.
Okay, very important. Still talk about the TMIS. I'm looking at it. How does it detect? How does it detect fraud? Fake? Exactly. Because I'm looking at somebody presenting a document which is not authentic, but because you're supposed to fill it in there. And Ugandans are very witty. Somebody has a bachelor's degree that they did not study, but they're pushing it onto the system. Does the system have capacity to detect authenticity of documents?
I'll tell you one thing. The system is very sensitive. The human beings, the individuals working on the systems are very sensitive. Look, each institution of higher learning must present a graduation list after graduation to the Ministry of Education. Each institution must present, even if there's a change within the management.
So you looked into all these things.
Everything.
As you're building the system.
You must even present specimen signatures of the registrars of each university. If that is not in, your teachers of your institution will not be verified. So each institution, be it Makerere, you must present a graduation list upon the graduation date. After. Minister doesn't even write to you. They really know this must be presented. So we also have key features where the officers look at. We coordinate with UNEB, we coordinate with these awarding institutions, and we do background check. So you cannot just come and say, I have uploaded a document and therefore I'll get registered. No. Secondly, the registration passes through 3 stages. If I fail to detect at my stage, he will detect. If he fails, the issuing level of certification will be detected. So you cannot pass through all of us.
So there is no chance that I can present a document that is not mine,
that doesn't exist,
fit into the system, but because you can have specimen signatures, these people can do anything in Uganda.
We know.
Present a document and then you look at Professor Ezat's signature and she didn't sign on it.
But then I can just tell you, you may present a document that is not yours, but do you exist in the graduation list? If you go to the university, can they know you studied? Are you there? You get. So we do a lot of cross-check just to ensure that every teacher that comes out from the system is a genuine teacher. You can try, but we've caught a lot of them.
You've already caught some?
A lot. We're just waiting for a time that we shall be guided to handle what must be done.
So these are registered. You know that they are doing fraud.
They're registered.
Fraud and
they use the forged documents, and we have them in the database.
Have you told them?
We even write to them back via the email. We query them. We can tell you, your certificate is too suspicious. Please, just to advise you, can you present the original documents at the ministry?
And they
will never appear.
And they never turn up.
They will never turn up. So we have a section within the system where we queue them. plus the respective results.
Mr. Commissioner, how do you see the management information systems reshaping, helping, and rebranding this sector called education in this country?
Yeah, thank you, Jagenda. We see this system giving us the authentic professional teacher that is supposed to perform the teaching and learning for our children. And when we see the teacher that, as you have just discussed, without, then we have to question where did this teacher train from. And when we look into the system, because me, I'm at level 2. Level 1, these are technical people. The technical people that are not anybody, these have studied ICT that they can handle the level 1. Level 1 is a presentation of your qualification documents. According to the system. According to the system. And when the technical people, this is, by the way, the system is managed by human beings. That's where now the issue of trustworthy comes in. At the sector, we know we are doing this, we are targeting somewhere. We want now to clean the system. We want to draw with the teachers who have been masqueraded, that they trained as teachers. We want to get the rightful person that is supposed to be on the payroll. We've been getting ghost teachers, but this has been right from the district level, especially primary teachers. There is a lot of fraud at the district level. And when we brought this system, now we are beginning now to see those, since we opened up the registration online 2019, we are seeing teachers even up to now who have not registered. We are just giving you the number that you are reflecting. But imagine, from 2019, we have only 190,000. Why? That's where now it begins now to help us say.
How long does it take to register if I sit on the system?
If you sit on the system, even a day, you can get your certificate. But within the system, just only 5 to 5 minutes, you are done. Because you open up, you go on the line. The portal and everything. You open up. Once the website gives you the form, you start filling. This is simple information biography about the teacher. Where are you born from? What are your names? So that information, then you get your documents certified, as we are talking about them yesterday. Get your documents, put them into one folder in a PDF, and then you upload them. Once we receive at level 1, there and then, and we see you come, then the process begins.
Level 1 is receiving documents.
Receives documents, verifies. That's the first level of verification. And this is very critical level. Those who are listening to us. This is where
because we have multiple NTCs, PTCs, so many universities, so many schools of education, so many teacher training institutions. We look at all these in the country, the chances that Jagged has presented a document from the National Teacher College in Ingeta, and it's actually the authentic one. I'm just looking at that because they're quite a number.
Yeah, that's what we are telling you, that in the system, the technical people at level 1, it is scrutinizing those documents, using the available means that are already stated there, looking at the specimen of the signatures, looking at the documents, those with at least those with the examination bodies, UNEB, UBTEB, UAHEB, all those ones, at least their documents are original. And you can easily see the specimen, and the requirement is that you scan them as the original copies.
Okay, don't photocopy.
All their features, not photocopies, because photocopies, that's one way
of duplicating it.
For documents entering in. So the only area that now follows after that, that helps us, is to look at now, if you trained from Makerere University as a teacher, then we expect you to go to the university. They certify that document because they are the owner of that their award. It's the awarding body. Therefore, for us in the ministry, we can't know that you are the rightful candidate actually that qualified in 2019. So the university, the teacher photocopies the original, takes it to the academic registrar. The academic registrar looks at it, this is the person, checks in their system also, then say, yeah, this is the authentic person that I'm now forwarding to the Ministry for registration. It's stamps and then the signature.
Okay.
So that becomes now the original photocopy of the original certificate or transcript that has to upload into the system. So we use that one, although that one also, we go further now to look at the signature specimen that has been brought, counter check with the graduation list, then finally say, wow, now I can now send this person to level 2. Level 2, when it comes to my level, I also counter check, is this correct? And it has happened. Maybe somebody has not attached the ID, the national ID. Why the national ID is that we are creating the data for the true nationals, our Ugandans. And we use the national ID. It is the national ID now tells us that you are Ugandan. Because the universities have various learners coming from various countries, Kenya, Nairobi, wherever they come. So they get now the university ID. That one may sneak into our system by presenting the ID of the university, the awarding institution.
Okay. Well, thank you.
So that one must be part of the required document that must be sent. So it is helping us to streamline the data to get the rightful teachers. Also, the payroll, those who are supposed to be there. And actually, that's one of the targets, that we shall gazette the rightful teachers. We are just only giving them time. And that's why we are on this discussion live, so that we further disseminate this information to the teachers. And the teachers come up and register. Once they miss the opportunity that we are giving them and they still keep quiet, it is a matter of time.
Okay, very important. Professor Ezat, back to Unity now, whose task force you're heading. Is Unity going to decide the curriculum that is going to be taught in the teacher institutions, in the training itself, or Unity just will also wait for somebody, National Council for Education, for example, to decide and all the things? I want to look at Unity as another very different new setting and setup that is that has not been here before. Is Unity going to determine the curriculum of training teachers in the country? For example, you're not going to close the other TTIs, you're not going to close the other NTCs or PTCs. I am in one teacher training college somewhere in the country. Is it Unity that will decide what I am taught there to qualify as a teacher of English or mathematics or anything, or somebody else decides the curriculum that Unity adopts and the other TTIs or NTCs or so?
Yeah, thank you very much. Unity is going to design and develop its own course. Degree awarding institutions normally develop their programs. However, for standardization and for quality, whatever program is developed in any institution has to be cross-checked again by submission to the National Council. So we will develop the program and forward it. And so if you are in maybe a training institutions in Kotido, just like as an example, the program that you're going to study there will be the program written by Unity.
Okay.
So
that's what I wanted to hear.
Yeah, it will be written by Unity. So whether it's Kabale, whether it's Arua, whether it's Moroto or Busia, they will be going through the same curriculum, the same examination, and therefore getting the same award. And that award will be award of Unity. So you're able to pick a document, which is the certificate, and actually say, yes, this is a certificate awarded by this institution. This person studied in Arua, but this is the qualification of this student. And actually talking about Unity in relation to maybe the teachers who are out there and they're in schools without proper qualification. As we prepare this program, we are actually thinking of having a blended approach. Blended so that we don't want to interrupt the school system. And so for the teachers who are there and want to upgrade, we're designing the program in such a way that they will learn during holidays, but they can also learn online. And so if they have access to the system these days, even the phone, you can actually access the program when you're in Moroto, when you're in Kabale. So that makes it easy for our teachers to actually upgrade and get to the qualification that is expected of a teacher that is going to work in this country. Yeah.
So what happens, I think you partly explained that, but I'm looking at those who are now in teacher colleges, they're in PTCs, NTCs and all the things, and they're hearing the discussion, they know that this is coming on, but they enrolled as diploma candidates or certificate candidates. So what happens now? Do they continue, finish the diploma and upgrade? And don't you think you're going to thread off so many who may not be able to qualify for the degree?
The ones who are training right now will complete. However, as soon as they complete, they need to start planning to upgrade. And like I said, they've been upgrading. And the teacher policy gives them up to 10 years to upgrade to degree level. And this is not new. We have been improving qualification of our teachers for a very long time. You know, we started off, if your viewers there remember, we had people who were grade 2 teachers. And then when that was phased out, we said upgrade to grade 3, and many upgraded. And now we are saying, let's move away for primary school from grade 3 to degree level. So we are calling upon them to actually embrace this and enroll and upgrade their qualification.
How is this going to help us in terms of quality, impact, and I think output? Because currently we got the same teacher training colleges. I choose to go to school X, Commissioner Bateganya goes to school Y, who are teachers in school B, Professor A that is teaching in another school. These are all secondary schools, for example. We sit exams and my school performs so excellently and all your schools perform so poorly, but we train together. What is the problem that Jagenda teaches in school X and they excel, then the rest of you teach in school Y, X and all this, and they all fail, but we trained together. We did the same training, we are all possibly teachers of even the same subject. Will this help us address a problem? Because these teachers do not come from heaven or anywhere. And we know that when your child goes to school X, then they will definitely pass. When your child goes to school Y, they will not pass. But the teacher in school Y and school X did the same training. Yes.
I want to say that the reform that is going on now is comprehensive. And so the whole intention is to improve quality of our education. And that is why the teacher policy, the teacher council will handle aspects of license motivation of teachers as well. And I'm bringing this because there are so many reasons why teachers trained from the same institution will perform differently in the institutions that they move in. One of it could be in motivation. One of it could be the resources, the equipment that they need to actually be able to effectively teach. And so this is a holistic program that we are rolling out in a phased manner to ultimately ensure that when we complete, the teacher working in any school should be able to perform as well as a teacher in school A, for example. Because we're trying to level the ground. You have the qualification, you have the facility, and teacher council will come up with a framework on how to going to motivate the teachers to be able to effectively perform their roles.
Commissioner Bateganya, let me come to you on TMIS again. If I register and get certified, do I need to re-register? Do I need to upgrade or renew my registration? Or once I'm registered, then forever, eternally?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Jagenda. Ideally, we would want to get a teacher register once and enter into the system. And we shall now have the data that you registered as a teacher and you enter in our database. However, there are different levels of qualifications. One may graduate as a grade 3 teacher, and at that level, you register and enter into the system. But you may wish to upgrade and get a diploma. And the teacher will not be comfortable having a grade 3 certificate. So we also say, let me update my registration. And he applies for his or her diploma registration certificate. We don't refuse. The person actually has upgraded. Likewise, degree.
So
when he gets
the registration
degree,
now is for teachers, not specifically bachelors or anything. It is for all teachers, for whatever.
For all teachers at all different
all
levels. And if one has registered as a graduate, there are those who go straight from senior 6, joins the university, and gets a degree. That one, once that one goes into the system, registers once.
Okay.
There's no need for you to register again.
Very important. And Mr. Ward, why I'm actually asking this is because the IG has an online declaration of assets and liabilities, and they do it after every 2 years. It's a law that after every 2 years you come in, and if you're a new entrant into the public service, it's the first 3 months, then you get there. Then after 2 years, you follow the routine. One, to know what you've either added on to or what has gone away from you, and to know all the other things. So I am also looking at it in that angle, that if somebody has registered and they are in there, you might have records that you have 350,000 registered teachers in the country. But after a year, maybe somebody has bowed out, they're not into education any longer, they're into politics, they're into so many other things. So I'm looking at that system that keeps telling us and checking all the records that yes, these are teachers that we have, because we can't have a false data of so many teachers who have now bowed out, gone into different things, died, and so many other things. So if we register once and say, once Jagenda is in there, then he's in there. Even when Jagenda leaves the country and goes for chair somewhere, the system still recognizes him. Is that what happens?
Well, I think, like you talked about the National Teachers Council. You see, as of now, a teacher may register once.
Okay.
Minus renewing the registration. Now, National Teachers Council is coming into place that will make sure if you're a teacher, every after 2 years you come back.
Yeah.
I think we shall eliminate all these other aspects. Once the National Teachers Council is in place, you must, if you register once as a teacher, you must renew the registration process. You don't study once, register once, and sit home. Here is where we shall get them. The council will then get them. Those that are active and those that are inactive. And the system will clear them off. As of now, that is not in place. We're only telling them, like they used to do manually, to register, get certified, get their registration certificates, and go to class. But once council is in place, they will have to renew. And we shall clearly kill all these other aspects. So a teacher will have to be active. You become inactive, you're off. You're active, you're on. As simple as that. Yes.
Professor Ezat, the other big thing, you talked about motivation and people thinking, why would I actually go to study, qualify, get a bachelor's degree, and I'm going to teach nursery school or early learning, as you call it. I'm going to teach primary school and all these things. And we studied with Award in the same institution or university at the same time. He's maybe an S6 teacher. And we think, how are we going to be remunerated? How are we going to be motivated? Teaching in primary is teaching, and somebody says, how come? The issues of motivation, and somebody saying, I can't qualify with a bachelor's degree, it will actually go into an early learning center.
I think that is an area that is going to be handled by public service.
Okay.
But I'm also aware that the payment of public servants is done according to their qualification. And so if a qualification of this ECD teacher is a degree, this person is going to be paid as a degree. But like I say, I think this is an area that Ministry of Public Service will handle. Yeah.
Commissioner Bateganya.
Yeah.
I want to know how much it costs me to register it to be certified.
Yes, thank you, Jagenda. I think you must have heard it in public that that actually teachers are being asked for money to register. I want to communicate to our teachers who are listening in and who are viewing that registration as the sector in the ministry, it has never been paid for. It is free of charge. That's why we are saying online to eliminate those elements that have been happening. Teachers actually have been cheated actually. In fact, that's why they would embrace this. They have been conned left and right. They have been coming to the ministry. Some of them come, like for example, somebody comes from Kotido, comes to the ministry, is coming to register. That's what has been happening. This teacher arrives the ministry, doesn't even know where the ministry is, and when he arrives, he's overcharged right from the border to connect this person to the ministry. He might, the vehicle might have dropped this person here at UBC, just roadside there. And the minister border, I'm going to the ministry. Where? Embassy House. You know what? I've been cheating them. He said, pay 5,000. Just turns around that roundabout and goes the other side, Serena, and then turns the other side, comes back and say, give me my 5,000. And just a walkable distance. And teachers have been cheated that way. Even in the corridors, when they reach even the ministry, they have been staying there. They meet those who are moving around. I say, no, I've come to register. Register as a teacher? I say, yes. No, if you want your work to be done very fast, give me 50,000. Another's 100,000. Another's 200. So it is very shortly you get this.
Pay some money and we rush to you.
The money. The teacher sits, even does not even reach our offices. And then gets there, go to, there is an area where they scan their documents, they assist there, then they scan, they upload, then he brings to the office at level 1. There is this teacher, wants to be assisted after getting the money from this person. Gets for us, he says, especially when there is an advert, they want to go for interviews. Then this person brings, at level 1, that we take that one as an emergency. And then we handle, push to level 2. From level 2, say, Commissioner, this one wants assistance. And the Commissioner clears. Then he goes back and says, you know what? The system, you're about to get the certificate, but it's not easy. The officer even wants kitu kidogo. They call it kitu kidogo. And then he pays 100,000. On addition to what has been. Shortly say, go and check your email, and the certificate will be there. And that's how it has been happening, that teachers are paying for this system. Otherwise, I want to state it categorically, clear to the teachers that registration is free of charge.
Mr. Wall, we're running out of time. We have about 3 minutes to get out of studios. If I've lost my documents, but when I've already done the registrations with Unity, I've done my registration certified by the system, and maybe lose my documents, can I come back to you, or once I have this certification, even when I lose my documents, this is just good enough that I just lost the others, but here I am, I was certified?
Now, that's why they must register. Because one, the system keeps the documents. The teacher has access to the system using their own account. Each teacher
even
has,
when I lose my
even if when you lose,
yes,
you can access using your account into the system and download. The registration certificate has a copy embedded in the teacher's account. A teacher cannot lose a certificate and complaints because the copy is always there. Anytime you have challenges, you face hardship, go back to the system, download whatever you want. We're keeping all their documents in the system and they have access. Each teacher has an account. Yes.
Thank you so much. Professor, time has run out. One or two from you to end the show. First and foremost, how much have you done so far in as far as Unity is concerned, because you're person of the task force? How much have you done? What is left? And where do we see the future with Unity? For those who possibly want to see Unity come on today, is it possible to have it today?
Not today, but very soon.
Very soon.
We've 90% completed the program.
Wow.
and what is left is passing it through the processes. So we are thinking that before this year ends, we will really be ready to go with admission. And our institutions, the NTCs especially, those institutions are ready to actually start offering degree to their students. The facilities are okay, and thanks to the development partners, they've put a lot there. Okay. So those ones are ready. PTCs, we have a little bit of time, but we will also get them on board soon.
You've aligned the NTCs first?
The NTCs first. We start off with NTCs, and then we bring on board
what challenges have you encountered with them, because people do not like changes, especially changes that are very strict or so?
NTCs.
Any challenges with them?
Not so far.
They've not had problems with you?
No.
Okay.
Not so far.
Well, I want to thank you so much. Commissioner Bateganya, yes. Finally from you, in just 1 minute. Yeah. Are we doing so much that we might lose a track someday, because there is UNITE here, there is the TMIS, then there is the National Council. There are quite lots of things that we're trying to put together. Won't we overstretch and possibly fail out on some?
No. I want to reassure you that we are moving systematically.
Okay.
We pick out the priorities and then we move according to those priorities. Right now, the dissemination is the major on creating awareness of the teacher policy. And we pick key areas in the national teacher policy and we start implementing them systematically. However, others run concurrently because of their importance and their need. So we open up one, it continues, like this one of TMIS. We started in 2019. It was actually the first. Then we developed the CPD, Continuous Professional Development Framework. It is already there. Okay. Competency profiles, it's already there. So where we get the support, we move that way. We have experts that can move along that side. We cannot just move step by step. No, there are so many elements that we need to handle in order to realize the implementation of the teacher policy.
Finally, don't you look at it as going to throw away so many teachers who might not be up to the tasks that we're talking about? Would this throw away many teachers?
Definitely.
Or that's what you even want?
Definitely, Jagenda. The purpose of this system is to get the rightful teacher. We have been using the statement that those who are masquerading as teachers should be pushed out, because we want to professionalize the teaching profession, to streamline it. And that is exactly what we are going. Those who are who are negative about it, they might be one of those that are culprits. They penetrated the system, they have moved in there, but yet they are now at the disadvantage of those.
It's catching up with them. Yeah. Kali, thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Valentine Owori, the Systems Administrator. Thank you so much, Mr. Commissioner Bateganya, Principal.
I'm a Principal
Education Officer from the Ministry of Education and Sports. And thank you so much, Professor Betty Ezat, the Chairperson of the Task Force over UNITE. We thank you so much, and of course thank the Ministry of Education and Sports for this initiative, and the partners over UNESCO for having made and allowed this to actually happen. And to the teachers out there, please, this is for the good of our education system. Let's embrace it, let's love it, let's like it, let's support it, and let's just do what it takes. To the teachers out there, if you still really want to be in this profession, do what is needed of you, register, then of course wait for UNITE to come on and the council and everything. All of us at the end of the day want a clear, a clean, and a very good and quality education system. My name is Jagenda Semakola Ziksoka, wishing you a very good Saturday today, and of course a blessed Sunday tomorrow, as we again go to worship, fellowship, and all the things. For God and my country, stay blessed as we continue inspiring Uganda. Good afternoon and good evening.
The teacher management